When he started his career in the 1960s in the juniors, there was a lot of people saying he was going to be a top prospect in the NHL for years and maybe be a long-time starter in the association. Well, that was true, but he was given some of the worst assignments in NHL history. We're going to get into this very soon, but we're going to talk about the many lives of the very, very durable and very well respected, actually, Ron Low. Now, Ron Low, born June 21st, 1950, in Bertel, Alberta, was one of the bigger goalies of his era at 6'1", 205. Now, he became the major prominence with the Dauphin Kings of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, where he put up some really impressive numbers. Now, with Dauphin in 68, he also played 16 games with the Winnipeg Jets, but in 69 and 70, he played in the Memorial Cup playoffs for both years and put up some really impressive numbers. Now, he won the Turnbull Cup championship with Dauphin in 69 and 1970, and eventually ended up with the Jacksonville Rockets of the EHL in 1971, where he won Rookie of the Year. Now, he eventually went on to the Tulsa Oilers after being drafted by Toronto, who took him 103rd overall in 1970. Now, Toronto had a lot of goalies in the early 70s. He figured another one wouldn't hurt. Now, his second season with Tulsa, he put up some impressive numbers. 21 wins, 18 losses and 2 ties, and 8 games in the playoffs, with a very impressive 1.89 average. Now, 72-73, he spent the whole season with Toronto, and this is where the bad luck starts. He put up some really, really rough numbers with Toronto, almost four goals a game in his rookie year, with a 12-24-4 record. Now, the Washington Capitals, he was sent back to Tulsa, and he was left exposed in the 74 NHL expansion draft. Now, he was claimed by the Washington Capitals as their number one goalie, and this is where the nightmare began, ladies and gentlemen. He was the best goalie on probably one of the worst 3 seasons for any NHL franchise of all time. Over 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, in a regular season, are you sitting down? Lost 94 games. His first season, 8-36-2 with a 5.45 average. 76, 6-31-2 with a 5.46 average. But his fortunes looked up in 77 with a 16-27-5 record and an 88% save percentage with a 3.88 average. But it was kind of a running joke when Washington would have to play Montreal on a Saturday night. Low would start, he'd be like 9-2, 10-2. 52 shots. But Ron was also known for a very decorative helmet that everybody talked about, like the old-fashioned Evel Knievel #1 on the side. Now, in 78, he found himself in better climes. He was doing backup duties in Detroit. The NHL, 9-12-9 with only a 3.37 goals against average. And actually, Detroit made the playoffs that year. And I think they played Montreal. He won one game against the Habs against 3 losses. Now, 79, he was back in the minors in the CHL. And that year, he made the first All-Star team, actually, and was the league's most valuable player. And we figured, hey, with the WHA coming in, he might get another chance. And that's what happened. He was claimed by the Quebec Nordiques in the 79 expansion draft. He was eventually traded by the Nordiques to, of all teams, the Wayne Gretzky Edmonton Oilers. Now, he played with Syracuse also that year, a very busy campaign. He was 5-7-2 to the Nordiques with a 3.71. But with Edmonton, he was 8-12-1 with a 3.42. Now, 81, 82, 83, he was kind of the backup in Edmonton until, Grant Fuhr and Andy Moog was ready to be number 1. He eventually later went on to the Devils, where he had a not too bad campaign. But his second year of the Devils, which one of his worst records, 8-25-4. Now, when he headed up with the Nova Scotia Oilers of the AHL, he had his first tenure as an associate or assistant coach. Now, the Moncton Alpines, where he played for a few games, he saw something in him as a coach. Now, this is where the second career for Ron occurred. During the 87 season, Lowe was promoted to assistant coach under Glenn Sather with the Oilers. Now, in 88, he became the head coach of the Oilers and remained in that position until 89 when the team was renamed the Cape Breton Oilers. Now, in 1990, Lowe was named assistant coach with the Oilers. 7 years later, he became the head coach of the Oilers, a position he held for four seasons. Now, after coaching the Houston Aeros for a season in the minors, he was named the head coach of the New York Rangers. However, his tenure would last only 2 seasons at the squad. Dismal performance led to regular chants of Lowe must go at home games and as the 2002 season wore on. At the time of his dismissal by GM Glenn Sather, his former head coach in Edmonton, the Rangers under Lowe had a combined record of 69, 81, 95, only finishing 4th in Atlantic both years, and failed to qualify to the playoffs, marking a 5th consecutive year where the team failed to make the playoffs, where in 1994 they won the Cup. Now, after being relieved of his coaching duties with the Rangers, he would still remain in the organization as a scout until 2004. Now, during the summer of 2004, became a scout and goaltender coach for the Senators, and in 2007, Lowe was promoted to AC of the Senators, but unfortunately was let go from his position February 27th, 2008. Now, what was strange about Lowe, his life almost came to an unfortunate end in a very, very violent incident on March 17, 2010. Lowe was mugged in downtown Calgary. He had just left after a meeting with fellow former Oiler Dave Hunter when the attack occurred. Lowe was able to make it back to his hotel and call an ambulance, which brought him to a local hospital, which required surgery to save his life, as many of his major organs were damaged in the attack. So I don't know exactly why, unless they recognize Lowe as someone that may have money. But he didn't deserve some fool or idiot jumping him on the streets of Calgary. If it was related to the Oilers, it was a disgusting attack, because we really don't know the full story and may never learn it. So let's look at the full NHL totals, ladies and gentlemen. And the totals don't reflect the importance he made to teams that were on a secondary list. Now, 382 NHL goals, 102, 203, 38, 87% save percentage, 4 shutouts, a 4.29 average, 4 playoff games for Detroit, 3 from Edmonton in 1980. If I'm not mistaken, he played against the Flyers in that round. So 1-6 with a 90% save percentage. So he had some good playoff numbers despite the loss. And what really stands out for me, ladies and gentlemen, that 82 season when he won 17 games and 29 starts, after having dismal records in Washington. And like I said, I think the other goalie was Michel Bellemare in Washington, I think it was. That was sad times. But considering the fact Washington only won, I think, 10 games in 1975, he won 80% of his team games. And he did shut out the Kansas City Scouts that year, the other expansion team. So Ron Lowe has dedicated literally, over 50 years to hockey. He deserves our respect because, he mentored a lot of the young Edmonton players coming in, because he had the experience of junior and Dauphin, minor leagues. And the time with the Maple Leafs, he gained a lot of experience playing with Davey Keon and Normie Ullman and stuff like that. But it's not his fault he had all the bad teams. But I don't think the Nordiques were going to keep him, and I think it saved his career when Edmonton picked him up. And Glenn Sather kind of rebirthed or recreated his career. Because Ron, if he had the right team in front of him there, he could do well. But I do remember those games in Washington on a Saturday night, where basically they wouldn't show Montreal against Washington. They go back to Montreal in the third period and said, we join you now at the 4-minute word. Washington is trailing Montreal 11-2. Lafleur has 3 goals, Shutt has 2 goals. And poor Ron Lowe, he wouldn't take him out because that's all they had. Bellemare couldn't do anything. But, could have been worse. Because giving up 5 goals a game in the Capitals, it could have been 8. Because it was a rough time. And like I said, all they had was Guy Chiron and Ron Lowe and Yvonne Labra and Yvonne Jolie. That's it. You only had 3 players, and the rest was filler. But no, they had Billy Riley and Mike Marson later on. But you know what I'm talking about. So that's the Many Lives of Ron Lowe. Thanks for listening. Give me a like, comment, or subscribe. We appreciate everybody that listens to the channel, and have a good one. Bye.